Welcome back to the Running Show 2010, and obviously the Running Show is all about running, and luckily I'm joined today by Mike Antoniades, who is the founder of the Running School. Mike, it's lovely to have you here today. You've got so many interesting things to talk about, and just talking to you briefly beforehand, I could talk to you forever, but just tell us briefly to start with what the Running School does.
Well, we say we teach people how to run, and then we teach them how to run faster. So one of the problems with modern Western lifestyle is we're not teaching running as a skill, and it's a skill and we can teach it. Same with speed. First you learn the technique, then you develop into the speed side. And we start with kids from 6 years old all the way up to elite athletes and senior citizens as well.
And the idea first came about, you said, because you work with footballers and their rehab, so after they'd been injured, bringing them back into running again.
That's right. In the late 90s or mid 90s, I was doing a lot of work with rehabbing professional footballers and rugby players after injury. And the movement patterns for reteaching the brain how to work again after injury is the same as teaching it originally a new skill, and running is a skill, so the two work together. The key is working the nervous system, because that's what helps the movement pattern stay permanent.
What I'm always really fascinated with is, like, if you go to a running race, let's say a 10K race, the different running techniques, styles, whatever you want to call it, is absolutely fascinating. There seems to be no one runner that runs the same, whether we're kind of talking about the person that's just literally doing it for fun and fitness, or the kind of, the 2 hour, 4 minute marathon runners. So what is it that makes humans run so differently when it's all something, we're all doing the same, but we're all doing it very differently?
Yeah, it's a great question. And two things. First of all, we're all made differently, so different shapes, different sizes. So we all have our own style, because there's no such thing as perfect running technique. There's a perfect running technique for your body shape. But that's the first thing. The second thing, and most important, is Western lifestyle is working against us, and we spend too much time sitting down. So what happens is, particularly the glutes, the rear muscles, switch off, and then we go into compensation mode. So if you look at the stats, kids and adults spend between 8 to 12 hours a day sitting down. Now that changes the shape of our body, it changes the way the body works. So if we're only utilizing the front part of the body, then as soon as we go out to run, the body goes, okay, I'm just going to use the ones that I've always been using, and we forget about the ones at the back. And they're the most powerful ones as well, the glutes and the hamstrings.
Do you think injuries have become more prevalent because people are spending more time now sitting at desks? Children are spending far too much time sat in front of computer screens, video games, etc., etc. So do you think injury problems and kind of more of a natural running style has been lost because of this problem?
Absolutely, yes. And if we take kids, and most kids these days are linked to the umbilical cord to a computer or a PlayStation, and that causes them to change the way they move. I work with kids from 6 years old. The number of dyspraxic kids that have been brought to me in the last 6 months, and what does dyspraxia mean? It's similar to dyslexia, is movement confusion. And all it is because they're not outside playing. Kids need 3 to 4 hours a day exercise.
Which is what they used to do.
What they used to do. What are they getting? They're not even getting 40 minutes at school twice a week. And that's causing a problem. I'm getting people come to me at 22, 23 with serious back problems. Why? Because they haven't exercised for 6 or 7 years, not because they've got a serious biomechanical issue. So
the great thing, what you're saying is kind of, it's not about, if someone's got a sore back, sore whatever, it's not just rest up, it's no, actually get moving.
Exactly the opposite, yes, we need to move. And the reason is because we spend too much time sitting down. And modern technology is great, but it's working against us.
Going back to elite runners, do you ever get anyone, I mean, obviously you're there to help people and help improve them. Do you ever get a runner that turns up and you think to yourself, I can't change a lot here, this is pretty perfect?
Yes, I mean, I'll give you an example. Christina Hurgu, before the Beijing Olympics, had won the World Championship, and when I analysed that, I found only 2 or 3 minor things that we could change. We decided to focus on one before the Olympics because we didn't have enough time to change it. And if you think about elite athletes, you're not going to change one thing about 50, 60%. You're going to change 2 or 3 small things by about 2 or 3% and bring it all together. And that's what we did. So it's not about making wholesale changes, it's about tweaking.
And in regards to middle distance runners, who tend to be the ones that kind of almost, I was going to say, Christina's had injuries as well, but tend to suffer the most injuries because of there's more constant impact. But looking at the UK runners, is there anyone in particular that stands out and you say, I like that running style?
There's quite a few middle distance runners who run. Mo Farah is a beautiful runner, for example, but he's worked on his technique a lot. And that's one of the things that a lot of elite athletes don't fit into their training. It's not about the volume of training or the intensity of training. Technique training is just as important, because if you can make yourself efficient every stride by 1 centimeter, whether using the arms better or landing better or less stress going through the joints, that makes you a more efficient runner over the longer period.
Another thing that's interesting is when you look at someone like Paula Radcliffe, who has especially if she gets tired, she has a slight nodding head. We've got a great runner, Tim Don, in our sport, was my sport triathlon, who also has kind of just a little kind of thing. Is that something that athletes do to help balance them out, and is that something that's kind of okay to do?
Well, what we said earlier was there's no such thing as perfect running technique. So if 90% is correct or 95% is correct, the small idiosyncrasies are part of our personal style then. If you look at Paula's a completely different runner now than she was 10 years ago, when she had a lot of movement in her body. But she worked on the arms, she worked on the legs cycling, she worked on her core strength, and she became a much more efficient runner. Same with Tim, same example. Someone like Toby Radcliffe, who we've worked with, he used to get a lot of injuries. He was a shuffler, and he couldn't improve his speed, and he was getting a lot of injuries. All we did was change his biomechanics, get him to use more of the muscle groups, and it took 8 weeks, over a period of 8 weeks, and now he's knocking his times down, and he's not getting injured.
So your idea is not just injury prevention, but it's also getting the athlete, the runner, to run faster as well and be more efficient.
Absolutely. If you become more efficient, you then become faster automatically. Then to become even faster than that, that's where you have to look at muscle imbalances. Strength comes into it a lot, particularly in the last part of the race where you're sprinting. So if you neglect your strength, and a lot of runners do neglect their strength, then that will catch up with you at some point.
So is your work based on mainly drills, strength work, or a mixture of the two?
It's a combination of everyone's an individual, so we don't have one program which fits everyone. So we look at running technique, we look at individual drills, we look at muscle imbalances, compensation issues, and we develop programs specifically for individuals.
Mike, if a runner wants to get in contact or find more out about what you do, where's the best place for them to go?
If they go onto the website, which is allthewsrunningschool.co.uk, they'll find all the details there, and we'll be happy to talk to them.
runningschool.co.uk if you want to run a little bit faster.